Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. And in today's video, we are going to talk about AMD Advanced Micro Devices, which most of you guys know is one of my favorite stocks. But before we get into that, let me just go ahead and address one very important thing. I've had some people going back to my old videos and calling me out because I talked about stocks like Disney, which I still love, SoFi, DraftKings, Arrival. So let me make one thing very clear. I only own those stocks make up less than 5% of my portfolio. And if you go back to my videos, not only did I say that, but I also said that these stocks are very risky. But if you go back and look at the majority of my videos, I also say that my largest holdings are index funds, Apple, Microsoft, yada, 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 right? Okay, cool. So now that we can move past that, let me talk about AMD, which, by the way, I have a larger position. I have more money in AMD stock than I do in SoFi, DraftKings, and Arrival stock combined. So let me just make that very clear, okay? So let's go ahead and get right into the video. AMD is one of my favorite stocks, and I really like it at this price. It's really coming very close to that $100 mark. It's at about $103 right now. Before, it was ridiculously overvalued. I will admit that. It was at like $160 in November, which was fun as a shareholder because I bought AMD at around the $80 range. So it was cool to see, but I knew it was overvalued. And some people might argue right now that AMD is a little richly valued, which I agree. That and some of the other chip companies are pretty richly valued. Sorry, let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb. But yeah, a lot of the chip making companies are pretty richly overvalued. I'll admit that. However, I really like AMD, and I think AMD's valuation might be a little bit justified just based on the insane growth numbers that it has. So let's just go ahead and let me give you guys my thoughts on AMD and why I think it could be a potential buy at current price. So just by looking at AMD's reports, remember the reports always tell the story. Those SEC documents will get you right. So we're going to focus on this right here. So AMD's recent 2021 earnings saw revenue jump from $9.7 billion in 2020 to $16.4 billion in 2021, 68% increase. Gross margin, same story, up 48%, increase of 3 percentage points over 2020. Absolutely incredible. Now, when we go over to operating income, that shot up about 2.5 times, from $1.37 billion to $3.65 billion. So we're looking at that there. In terms of EPS, I don't see that on here, but that's okay because I know what their EPS is. AMD's EPS, earnings per share, rose from $2.10 in 2020 to $2.61 in 2021. Now, if you want my honest opinion, I think the only reason why the stock is dropping is because it's getting these price target downgrades. That's really what I think. I mean, I can't think of any other reason why people would not want to buy this stock. I mean, this is just an absolutely incredible company. Now, I understand you've got NVIDIA, which is absolutely killing it. You've got Intel. You've got a couple chip makers in the game that are really killing it. But one thing I really want to tell you guys about chips is the next big thing. In my personal opinion, the demand for chips is not going to stop. The demand for semiconductors is not going to stop. It's actually going to continue to go up as tech continues to take over a larger percentage of our overall day-to-day activities. There's going to be a higher need for chips. And I'm telling you, AMD is in the perfect position to benefit from this, as well as a few other stocks. But AMD is just one of my favorites because AMD is just growing at an insanely fast rate. And I honestly just don't see the growth stopping. And also the other part to it is I just absolutely love AMD's CEO. I think AMD's CEO is one of the smartest people I've ever seen. I mean, she really knows what she's doing. She's ran the company incredibly well, and I am just a huge fan of her leadership. Now, I wanted to go ahead and read this Barron's article because I actually think that this article gave some great information. So let's just go ahead and read it because I think this is actually important to know. Advanced Micro Devices shares were falling in Thursday trading after an analyst warned of a possible correction for semiconductor in markets such as personal computers and gaming in 2023. Barclays analyst Blaine Curtis, this is the Barclays analyst that pretty much made the stock tank, cut his rating, blah, blah, blah. Let's see what he had to say. He says AMD still looks positioned to gain share this year. Very important, I agree, in both the client and server markets. And while we do see upside to the 31% growth target this year, keep in mind that's exactly what AMD said in their latest earnings report. So he's pretty much in line with what AMD is saying. Where we have an issue is for 2023 as we see cyclical risk across several end markets. I can see what he's saying, but I'll tell you my opinion in a minute. He pointed to elevated PC original equipment manufacturing shipments, where we are well above pre-pandemic levels, though some argue the number of PCs per person per household will increase due to hybrid working. I 100% agree with that. Thank you. Curtis doesn't think that trend can sustain the market at recent levels. I disagree with him. I agree with this part right here. I think there's still going to be a need. Mainly because of the fact that a lot of people are going to be working from home and we're just moving to the technological side. If you look at what Charlie Munger said, even Charlie Munger agreed when he had that Daily Journal meeting recently. He said that he doesn't think we're ever going to fully go back to work. He said, if anything, people will spend some days of the week at home and some days of the week in the office. It'll be like a 2 days in the office, 3 days at home kind of thing. And I 100% agree. That's just the way that the world is going. And I think that AMD is going to superbly benefit from that. And also, in regards to what that analyst said, let me just say this. AMD has a very diversified business. And so even if PC sales do slow down, I really just don't see it hurting AMD because they just have so much diversity in their business. You know, they do a lot more than selling PCs, and you can kind of see it reflected here, right? So this is the Xilinx. I hope I'm saying that right. AMD just recently acquired Xilinx. And you can see it right here, long-term enormous opportunity. You see right here, data center. You do see PCs, but you see embedded, you see gaming. You know, if you just look at this little presentation that they made, you could just kind of see the direction that AMD is going in. And they also made another acquisition as well. Here's the other acquisition that AMD made literally 2 days ago. So they announced that they acquired a company called Pensando for approximately $1.9 billion. This is great. And then they actually explain a little bit why. And you can see right here, to build a leading edge data center with the best performance, security, flexibility, and lower cost of ownership requires a wide range of compute engines. Dr. Lisa Su, AMD Chair and CEO, all major cloud and OEM customers have adopted EPYC processors to power their data center offerings. Today, with our acquisition of Pensando, we add a leading distributed services platform to our high-performance CPU, GPU, FPGA, and adaptive SoC portfolio. The Pensando team brings world-class expertise and a proven track record, blah, blah, blah. So you can see right here, they are expanding. They are making good acquisitions that are going to help the company, and they are just absolutely killing it. I mean, what more can you say about this company? The analyst also believes gaming interest will wane a bit when compared with early pandemic levels. Well, I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, everybody, the peak of gaming and staying at home was when you were forced to stay at home, right? So, I mean, sure, it'll decline a little bit, but I don't think it'll just completely plummet. I don't think AMD is going to pull a Peloton and just, so, which could impact AMD's business selling custom chips for video game consoles in 2023. Yeah, I don't know. If you guys go and look at any of the research out there, you will actually see that gaming continues to grow. Go Google it right now, how gaming has done this year compared to last year. Gaming is still a huge growing industry. It's growing at insane numbers every single year. Even with kids being at home, gaming is still growing. Or no longer being at home, gaming is still growing. It's just a thing. Though he thinks AMD is well positioned in the server market, he doesn't think continued growth in that business will be enough to offset potential struggles elsewhere. The core issue here is what will be AMD's growth trajectory coming out of this potential correction. And the answer to this will be just how competition Intel and ARM will be in 2024, 2025. Very interesting. We would rather move to the sidelines until we have better clarity as to the magnitude of these corrections and what the competitive landscape will look like as Intel catches INTC catches up and ARM takes more share. Okay. So although the analysts for Barclays raised some pretty good points, my position still stands. I love AMD. I am bullish on the company. I think it's going to have an insane 2022. I can still see it having a good 2023 as well. I mean, he's predicting that overall market is going to have a correction, and fine. I mean, corrections aren't the end of the world. Like, if AMD were to go back to the 80s or the 70s, I would just buy more. And as a matter of fact, the company is stronger now than it was back when it was trading at $70, $80. So honestly, with the growth numbers that it's at right now and the revenue growth and the numbers that they're doing, for them to go back to $70 and $80 would be a steal, in my opinion. That would be great. So even if they have a correction, I'd be happy. I'd buy the heck out of that stock. So I did go ahead and I bought a little bit today. I bought a few shares in several of my accounts because I got retirement accounts that I own AMD stock in as well. So I did go ahead and do that. And I also plan to buy more AMD if it goes below $100. So I grabbed it at $103. If it ends up going to like 85 or the 90s or the 70, whatever, something that I feel is a pretty fair price, then I would end up buying more. So I just want to make it very clear. When it comes to buying a dip, every dip is not worth a buy. You know what I'm saying? Like, AMD literally just went from like $120 something to $103. So I'm fine with buying a dip here because it's a pretty nice drop. So I probably wouldn't buy the dip in AMD again unless it went under $90. Honestly, that's probably the next time I would buy the dip. But for now, right here at this $103, $100 range, I am perfectly fine with buying the dip. I am extremely bullish on AMD, and this is one of my favorite stocks and one of my largest holdings. And so far, it's been good to me. So there you guys have it. That'll go ahead and conclude today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.